Keep living the adventure. Axis of Awesome.
Incoming transmission.
What is up, adventurers? Welcome to another Who's in the Shop special Wednesday edition. Thanks, everybody, for joining up tonight. I really appreciate it. We've got a great guest lined up tonight, but before we get started, a few housekeeping issues we're going to go over like we always do. First off, all three items from the Golden Skull anthology contest last year have arrived at their destinations. All three of the individuals have let me know that they got those, and they're all happy with them. So I really appreciate those guys letting me know that those made it to them safe and sound. This coming Friday, I got a really cool Resto Mod Restoration Nation coming up. I've got a couple G.I. Joe 1976 talkers that I put together, and it's a really fun video, so definitely check that out. Next week is Thanksgiving. I hope all you guys have a great Thanksgiving holiday. Before we get started, just want to throw that out there, and we are going to be dropping a brand new photo story, G.I. Joe, Man of Action, Crosshairs. It's a really cool story. It's not very long, and I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy it. And then, of course, I have a very special Christmas video I hopefully can get uploaded by next Friday, and it's going to be really fun as well. One last announcement before we get going. Next month, I have reached out to the OG members of the Axis of Awesome community, and we're going to have a live stream. I believe around December 10th is what I have planned. And it's going to kind of be like we did last year. We're going to bring in the original members of the Axis of Awesome, and we're going to, talk about what's been going on with everybody. It's really going to be good. Hopefully everybody's able to join this time around, and keep that on your calendars. I think it's going to be really fun. So tonight's guest was supposed to be Edmond DeJesus, the Howling Moondoggy, but apparently something happened, and we got the G.I. Joe Sea Adventure instead. Hey, brother, what's up?
What's going on?
I was just telling you backstage, man, that beard is looking super dope. I love the way it looks, man.
Well, thanks.
Got a little gray in there.
Yeah, hitting. I'm 52, so
you're 52, so you're a year older than me. You look damn good for 52, brother.
Thank you.
You got that little gray patch on the side. Mine gray's uneven as well. I don't know what the hell it is.
Yeah, it's like here and here. I'm like, what's going? I'd rather just all go gray or whatever, but it's just.
It is. I'm a super hairy guy. I'm built like a Neanderthal. So I have this patch of all gray hair on one side of my body, and the rest, everything else is just brown. It's really funny looking. My son likes to laugh at it and stuff. I'm like, man, wait till you're my age, dude. You know,
I had somebody tell me, "Hey, you have some salt and paprika going on there."
a little spice, get a little spice
Yeah,
in that beard. It's that red, man.
yeah,
It looks great. You do look just like the freaking Sea Adventurer tonight. I don't know if you planned that, but you could pass as one of the coolest looking Sea Adventurers I've ever seen.
yeah.
So it's
And
awesome, dude.
I usually wear a pea coat too. So
You do?
yeah,
Oh shit, man! You ought to take some pictures of that. Have you created your own Edmond figure of yourself?
I do have one. I think it's in my my profile picture on Facebook and everywhere else.
Oh shit. Okay. Hey, before we get going, we better jump in the chat here and see who all we've got in here. We've got Shane for Same Time Toys decided to join us tonight. What's up, my brother? We got Murray Corrigan from Canada. They probably got about 25, 30 inches of snow up there right now. Sig 20's here tonight. Of course, Howlin' Moondoggy jumped in there. We got, let's see, Robert from Maxog decided to jump in tonight with us. Ed from Action Figures is here. Tim Cope, the Fighting Dwarf Avatar, is here tonight as well. We got the great Rick Bradshaw, the 60 pick. And Michelle 555. All right. I love it, man. Thanks for everybody for joining tonight. It's going to be a super fun live stream. Man, Eben, I really enjoyed your Paul Knapp show. You have a wildly awesome collection, man. It's super dope. So how did you get started doing all, like, what got you into all this stuff?
Oh man. Well, as a kid, obviously, play with all the toys, whatever. But when I was a kid, first of all, I played with my toys. Like I played with those toys until they disintegrated. I never saved them, never tried, hey, let me save this for the, no, I played with them until they were gone. They were destroyed. So like we were talking backstage, I always like jumped around and from, lived here, lived there, lived all over the place. So I used to always wanted to collect, but I was always so unsure where I was going to live that I didn't. I was like, well, I want to buy this. I'm like, well, I would put it back and not buy it because I was like, well, I know I'm going to leave it behind, so I'm not going to spend the money. But somewhere in, I think 2017, around there, I just, like, I moved to Nebraska in 2013. Then by 2017, which I was sure I was going to stay here, I was like, I started buying little by little. I saw Taylor from Planet of the Apes, the Hasbro one with the thick body. And I bought it, brought it home, and that kind of, after that, it was just, I just kept buying. I never stopped.
No shit. You got like a wild collection. When you gave Paul, those guys, a tour of your collection, I was looking at all your figures, and we see a lot of them in a lot of your photos you do on all the various platforms. I know you do your Instagram, and then I know you from the Action Figure Playhouse, and then you post to some of the G.I. Joe groups as well. But man, some of your figures, I think some of your customs that you've made, like your Buck Rogers, I saw in that when I did your intro. I remember when I can't remember the name of the company that produced those Buck Rogers figures back in the early 2000s. I had one, but yours looks really, really cool. Were you inspired by that figure when you did it?
I was inspired by the comic books, like the old Rogers. Like to me, that was the original Buck Rogers that I remember as a kid. So that's why I did that one. I like all that pulp comic books and stuff like that. Old,
great,
weird characters that nobody ever cares about.
Yeah. Well, those are the best ones, right? Because those are the early ones when, back in the 1900s, everything kind of just changed everywhere. But, when you first started to get like superheroes and cult heroes and stuff like that, man, I can't imagine being a kid, back a long time ago. And then you read about Tarzan and, Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and these fantastical adventures that people would write about, like Robert E. Howard and Conan. And I just can't imagine being a kid and experiencing that for the very first time when you're basically coming out of the 1800s, just how bananas the whole, expansion west and everything was, just to be exposed to all that cool shit for the very first time in society. That must have been awesome for a lot of people. But dude, so So you like a lot of the pulp comic books and stuff. What's your favorite comic book?
Oh, I mean, I will have to go with Conan the Barbarian. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah. The Savage Sword of Conan, the magazine, and Conan the Barbarian. I was exposed to it as a little kid. My dad used to bring comic books to the house. He used to steal them because my dad was, unfortunately, he was a heroin addict and in gangs and stuff. So he used to steal stuff, bring it to the house to us, and he used to bring us tons of comic books. And and I was a little kid looking at Conan the Barbarian comic books, where there's a lot of stuff going on in those comic books. If you look at them, they're not for kids, and
No.
especially the Savage Sword of Conan, and that was always my main. Although I love Captain America, which would be I always say he's my favorite superhero, but my favorite character is Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, Conan the Barbarian is probably one of the first adventure. I don't know, fantasy sword and sorcery things I was exposed to. Probably the first character I was exposed to as a kid was Tarzan. My dad was a big Tarzan fan. Like Pat and Elite Action Joe is a big Tarzan fan. My dad would read me Tarzan stories when I was a kid, and I loved Tarzan. In fact, I really liked the Tarzan: The Legend of Greystoke movie with the dude from Highlander. That was a great movie, I thought. But yeah, Conan the Barbarian is great. Do you read the new ones by Titan Comics?
I haven't. I heard you talking about it. I thought about getting me some. Yeah. I haven't.
You should look for these. These are some of the best stories going right now in comic books. I don't know. I bought these on a whim, and I can't put them down, man. They're great stories. The art's amazing in them. So definitely give those a check out. I know you probably don't need more things to collect.
Oh no, I don't mind. I mean, I have books of Conan. I have novels, all kind of stuff there. It's just since I'm a little kid, I've been into Conan. So.
Do you have like a favorite? So did you read the Conan comics as like an adult or anything?
I haven't read them in some years. Some Savage Sword of Conan I read as an adult.
Yeah, they're really good. There's a lot of really good stuff. I really enjoyed. I read the Marvel stuff as a kid, but when Dark Horse Comics got Conan back in the early 2000s, I thought they did the best of anybody. But I think Titan Comics out of the UK is doing a fantastic job. So Captain America, man, that's probably was one of my favorite superheroes as a kid too. Do you like the more traditional Captain America, or do you remember in the early 2000s where they gave him the World War II web belt? Like, what's your favorite version of Captain America?
I always say it's like the Jack Kirby version.
Oh yeah, the original, the OG version.
Yep.
Yeah. Captain America.
As a kid, I always wanted the 12-inch Mego of Captain America.
Oh yeah, I never had that either.
With the big head, I never got it. Instead, they gave me. I remember it was Christmas or whatever. My mom did her best to get me the freaking best toys when I was a kid. I guess she couldn't find Captain America, so she got me Batman and Robin with the magnetic hands.
Oh, I never had that one either. I always wanted one of those, dude.
I had those too. And I mean, I was kind of happy and disappointed at the same time, but I was like, but it's Batman. I couldn't go wrong either. So I was like, I played with those two till, man, I think the last thing left was the magnets.
Oh man, I tell you what, I was like you as a kid. I played with everything until it broke or whatever. I played all sorts of stuff. Now, do you have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother, 3 years older than me.
Did you guys play together?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't. I have 3 older brothers and an older sister. So my older sister is 10 years older than me, and I have a brother 8 years older than me, 1 6 and 1 5. So I didn't get to play with anybody. Nobody wanted to play with me when I was a kid.
Yeah, they were way older. Yeah.
Yeah, I played by myself a lot, and I created my own lore. I call it. I say lore. I always tell everybody, like, I had this conversation with a guy on the phone the other day, and we were talking about AI art of all things, and in AI music and all that stuff. And I basically was telling him, I'm like, yeah, he was like, AI is never going to be able to write like a good song like I can write, And I said, yeah, you're right. I said, because it doesn't have the lore that we have, like you have your experiences like with your dad in the comics and everything. That's lore, man. That's your own personal lore. And I think that's what's the greatest thing about our collector community. Like, all of us are from different backgrounds. We all have our own lore. that makes us who we are. And I love that term lore. I've been seeing people use that a lot lately because I follow a lot of wacky wizard sites.
Yeah.
And I love lore. And you have some great lore, man. And you sent me some pictures, and we'll get to those here in a bit. But all your collection is super eclectic. And like when I looked at all your stuff with Paul, you had so many cool pieces. And I was just like, wow, like how again, it was like endless. And I'm like, so how did you like start building stuff? Like you said, you got the Planet of the Apes figure first, and then
Yeah.
you just kind of sparked it.
Yeah, I got that. I got Taylor from Planet of the Apes because the movie Planet of the Apes were very influential when I was a kid.
Really?
I mean, yeah, I saw Planet of the Apes. I used to watch the cartoons. And I was just crazy with Planet of the Apes. You know, and I like the time travel stuff. So I was just that movie was just like probably one of my favorite movies, Planet of the Apes, and I love that. I used to watch a lot of old stuff like The Time Machine, a lot of '60s shows. Although I was born in the '70s, but all those old shows I used to always watch them and all that stuff. But so I got that Taylor. When I got that Taylor, I bought them, put them in my living room. Then I started looking for Captain America, and I was looking for the Captain America that I never got, which was the Mego. And so I ran into other Captain Americas, which I bought. I was like, well, I'll buy this. I'll buy this. I'll buy this. And that's how it started. Then eventually I saw the Mego Captain America, and now I have 5 of them. I have 5.
5 of the Mego Captain Americas?
Yeah.
Wow,
I guess
are they
I said
different?
for every decade I didn't have them, I'll have one.
Yeah, I do that shit too, man.
Yeah.
I've done that with a lot of things I never got as a kid, and then I have always I call it toy trauma.
Yeah, I guess. Yep.
It's like I was telling my parents, I'm like, I have this toy trauma, and that's why I have all this shit, and they're like, whatever, man. But so have you seen that? I bought this. Like I had some Hot Toys Captain Americas, but I didn't like them because they're too pretty, right? They look too real.
I did the same thing. I had some Captain America from Hot Toys as well, and I got rid of them. I sold them for a very cheap price. I really didn't even care. You know what it was too? Like I had, they weren't. I don't know. They were just not toys, And and the other thing is, I had no nostalgic connection to it.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't
I
have
don't
any.
either.
Yeah, I don't have any connection to the Hot Toys. I mean, they're beautifully. They look beautiful. They're amazingly done, but I have no connection to it.
Have you seen the 3-0 Toys Captain America? It's like an anime style one.
Yeah.
When I saw that one, I was in love with it, and I basically sold all my Hot Toys Captain Americas
to get them.
For like you. I sold them for not what I paid,
Yeah.
And then I bought that figure, and it's like my only Captain America 12-inch figure that I have.
I have that one too. I have that one.
Dude, that's I love that figure.
It's really good. Yeah, it's a really good figure.
Do you have the Disney Store one that the super articulated Hasbro one?
Yeah, I do have that one. Yeah.
Is that a cool figure? I've seen people with that.
It has a nice. I like the body. Actually, the body is really good to. I actually have quite a few customs. I bought a bunch of them.
Did you?
Yeah, and I customized. I used the bodies for customization.
Wow, nice. Now, I saw one Captain America you had that looked like the vintage style, had the cloth outfit, and he almost looked like he had trunks on him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's a custom I made. Yeah, that's a custom.
That's a custom you made. That is freaking cool looking, man. I was like looking at that going, whoa, this guy is out of his mind. So how do you do your customs like that? Like, do you buy the outfits or do you sew them? Like, what do you do?
No, I buy the kind of the outfits that they sell in China, whatever, for cheap.
Okay.
And then I add everything else. Whatever I don't, whatever. Like the star, I bought a stitched star and I glued it to his chest and stuff like that. I glued the lines, the red and white lines.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I glued those on a piece of fabric and put it around his waist.
I can't tell that at all, dude. Yeah. That's a dope looking figure, man.
Thank you.
When I do a custom, I'm just looking at something. Like if I'm making a photo story, I'm like, all right. I get the idea for my photo story, and then I'm like, I got to do this, this, and this. So then I start doing these customs, and it leads to other stuff. Like, what inspires you to do your customs?
Probably sometimes, I don't know. It's just kind of characters that I want or characters that I have comic books of. And I start going through the comic book. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this guy. And from there, I mean, I take off from there. Then I got to start looking for stuff. Like, let me see what I can use to make this guy that I'm not going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I start looking for beat up figures, because I can't, if I buy a figure in a box, I can't customize it. It's against my rules, I guess. I don't know. I feel bad doing it.
I get it. I'm like that too. I feel bad sometimes having to tear figures up. When I made my Jungle of Death photo story, and I had all those bodies out there that I covered in blood and cut all up, and that was a tough one, because I have a big old box of bodies that I have for stuff, and when I started tearing those up, I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna need one of these for something someday,
Yeah.
Luckily, not yet, but I'm sure here in the future I'll need something. So when you got collecting GI Joe, so you started collecting your GI Joe. Everybody's talking about your GI Joe 2010 cards behind you, right? Is that what those are?
Yeah, those are the cards. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
So did you have GI Joe as a kid?
I did. Yeah. My brother was 3 years older than me, so he had Adventure Team Joes.
Okay.
I mean, I was going to tell you earlier that you're probably better off that your brothers didn't play with you, because I don't know, my brother was like a dictator when it came to play with him. He had rules, laws where I couldn't play these toys with these toys, don't go together. You can't do that. And, so you were better off playing by yourself. But he had Adventure Team, and that was my first introduction. I was little to Adventure Team. I have a pretty good memory since I was like 3 years old. I remember a lot of stuff. And when we were little, we moved for the first time. We moved from New York, from the Bronx. We moved to Puerto Rico. So my mom left all our Joes behind.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So she left all the Adventure Team. We couldn't take them with us. We left with nothing, no toys.
Oh whatsoever.
Boy, we left everything behind. Yeah, my mom to this day, she tells me I still feel so bad about that. I was like, it's whatever.
That's your toy trauma. It's toy trauma. That's what I thought.
But when we were in Puerto Rico, I guess she found it at that time. There was Mike Powers was out, the Eagle Eye Joe, and Bullet Man, and she got us those guys for Christmas. And I remember Bullet Man, and I always say, because the other Joes were really my brother's Joes. My first Joe in my hand, like given to me, was Bullet Man. And since I like superheroes, I'm guessing that's why she gave it to me. And then she gave the Mike to my brother, and we played with those things till they disintegrated.
Man, what was it like moving from New York to Puerto Rico? Was it a weather shock for you?
Weather shock, language. Man, it was like walking into the past.
Was it?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, people were like in the past, and now they're today you go there, up to date. But when we went there in the 70s, it was like walking into the past. Like people were living still kind of, I don't know, back in years ago. Like they were behind on everything.
Oh, I can imagine, man. That would be a culture shock. Now, did you speak Spanish when you were a kid then?
I knew Spanish, yeah.
You knew Spanish?
Yeah.
So you were able to kind of, when you got there, you were basically, it was like still kind of a learning deal. But man, that had to be crazy, because you're talking New York in the 1970s. The winters there probably were brutal, man.
It was crazy. Yeah, New York was crazy in the 70s. I mean, Puerto Rico was. I always tell people, hey, my mom left the hood to go to another hood, because Puerto Rico was off the hook too. People were insane over there. It was like,
I always tell everybody, because I think I was like, everybody today, I always tell everybody, like, everywhere's a hood now. Now I was like, I mean, I live in a town of like 800 people, and it's a hood town. it's a Rust Belt. It's a Rust Belt wild. It's a wild little town, Paris. My God. Yeah. Anybody out there who's never researched Paris, Illinois, definitely look it up, and you can find some. There's some grisly murders that have taken place here, as well as a bunch of other shady things. So it's pretty wild. But yeah, I can't imagine that would have been wild back then. So you went to Puerto Rico, and then is that where you grew up? Spent the most of your childhood then, or did you guys
Yeah,
move
yeah.
back?
My early childhood, I was there. Then I went back to New York. Somewhere I was still young, still a little kid. Still, I went back to New
Yep.
York. Was there for a while. Then went back to Puerto Rico again. It was
Yeah.
a lot of moving around and a lot of back and forth. But I wasn't leaving my toys behind or anything this time. I was like, nope.
Yeah, I don't. You know, it was funny. I had Vern from Vern Rants on several months ago, and Vern was a military kid, and he lived over. I think he lived over in like Okinawa. I think I got that right from I remember. And Vern was telling me that when the families would be their tours would be up on those bases, they would leave, and all these kids they could only take so much back.
Yeah.
So he'd said there'd be these kids dragging their toys out, like I gotta leave, and here's all my GI Joes. I'll sell them to you for like $5 or something. And he was talking about buying those toys, and I was like, oh man, I can't even imagine that. But it's so cool. It's so interesting and cool when you talk to people about their childhoods and their childhood and relationship with toys, because I think a lot of people, maybe, I don't know, not as much now, but a while back, people would like, "Oh, you're playing with toys? What are you guys doing collecting toys?" And I tell everybody this all the time, like, dude, it's a time capsule to a better time
Yeah.
in your life when you were a kid. You didn't have to worry about. I mean, I realize all of us had to worry about certain things when we were kids, but when you held a toy for the first time in your hands, you get one you wanted for Christmas or your birthday, like there's not a feeling that there's not very many feelings that beat that feeling of the wonder and joy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and the like even like I always say, Mike Powers has a particular smell. That toy.
Oh,
I re-
really?
I remember as a kid, it had a particular smell. And today I have Mike Powers today, and it's still in that toy actually still smells that way. And every time I smell it, it kind of takes me back to those days when I was a kid.
That is cool. I'll have to check that out because it's probably that translucent
Yep.
clear plastic that had a weird smell, right? Like a
Yep.
petroleum type smell.
Yep. It had a weird
Because
smell. Yeah.
that is cool. I never even thought about that. You're right. Some stuff does have an odd smell. Um, Man, I was sitting there the other day. I brought a box of pictures down from my attic because my son was it was a Veterans Day thing at school, and we needed if you had a family relative who was a veteran. So I grabbed one of my brother's pictures and brought it down. Then I brought a box of pictures down. We were looking at all the toys that me and my brothers got in the 70s and 80s, and I was showing him all that stuff, and it was hard for him to relate to it because he was like, "Whoa, what's that?" And he's like, "I had a He-Man." I'm like, "Yeah, we had He-Man back in the early 80s, man. What are
Yeah.
you talking about? That's
I
where that
used to
shit
have
came
those
from."
too. Yeah. I used
Yeah,
to have
He-Man.
all that stuff. Yeah.
He-Man was great. So did you have what was your favorite toy growing up as a kid?
I would have to say, well, because after I caught the last leg of the Joes, right?
Hmm.
And then after Bullet Man, they disappeared, and then there was a lot of stuff. Uh, like I said, I had He Man, but then I remember I was in the Bronx, and I go to I don't because I where I grew up, the areas that I grew up, there was never no KB toys, no Toys R Us, none of
Yep.
that stuff. So it was just people who had toy stores. So I remember going to Little Italy in the Bronx, and I go into this. Hold on, yeah, I put more. That's my daughter.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, so I go to this store in Little Italy in the Bronx, and it's this very old man. And everything was organized, all the toys. So I go in there. It was my birthday, and I had probably I don't know. I probably had like $100 and something. All my uncles and aunts and everybody gave me money.
That's a
So
lot of good. That's a lot of money.
yeah, that was a lot of money. So I ran. The first thing I did, I went to Little Italy by myself. I was probably 9 years old. I don't know. I just walked over there by myself, and I go in there and I said, I'm just gonna buy toys. So I go in there, and the first thing I see in the front was the little GI Joes, right?
Okay. Yep.
And I remember saying, GI Joe is back,
Oh
and
yeah.
I grabbed one of each, and I bought them right there and then, all of them. And I play with those. I took them with me. I will take them. I will go to Coney Island. Take them with me to Coney Island. Take them to me
Wow.
everywhere I went to. Those Joes went with me too. Like I was.
There's something I know a lot. You get a lot of guys in the six scale community who shit on the little figures, and I I get where they're coming from. You and I are both almost the same age, so we're like tweeners, where we kind of we're in that weird age of the late 70s where we like we're in all these transitional ages. You had the Japanese robot invasion.
Oh
We
yeah.
had Micronauts. Then we had Star Wars, He-Man, G.I. Joe, and all that. So we were in that weird age group. But I'll tell you what, there's something endearing and nostalgic about those 1982 Joes. Just the original line that came back. That to this day, when I see any of those, I'm like you. When I first saw those, I had to have all of them. I didn't get all of them at first, but eventually, you know, over birthdays and Christmases and stuff, I would get the original team. But when I first saw those, I just remembered my brother's G.I. Joes, the Venture Team guys, and nobody had Super Joe in my family. I had a lot of Migos, but when I got those 82 figures, that original team, that's my favorite team to this day. Those are. I mean, afterwards, you know, you had all the characters and all the stuff, and some of the later 80s kids love like Ninja Force, and all those guys they're mentally ill. But no, I'm just kidding. But
those are weird. Those are weird.
Yeah, it got weirder and weirder and weirder, and I get it. But that team in 82 was really cool, because if you look at that team in 82, and I don't know what you think, and I've talked about this with like Ed from Action Figures, but those heads all kind of were a transition from 1964 to now. You had guys without beards and guys with beards. The only thing missing on those figures was a scar. They were basically a continuation of that G.I. Joe nameless, faceless soldier.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after 82, you know, you got all the characters, Doc, you know, Gung Ho. But yeah, those original 82 guys, just all the same head sculpt. You know, just one had, you had three different head sculpts. You had the bearded guy, the guy that looked like the bearded guy with no beard, and then you had the separate like Grunt's head. And Hasbro, it was brilliant what they did, but man, so you had G.I. Joes and you saw those early G.I. Joes and you bought all those. Is there anything else that you really loved when you were a kid growing up? Did you have Migos?
Yeah, I had Migos. I had Migos. I had Captain America, the little one, the 8-inch. I had some Migos. I had, like I said, I had He-Man. You remember those Flash Gordons they used to sell? They used to have Flash Gordon.
The Mattel Flash Gordon figures? Absolutely.
I had those. I had what else I had?
Did you have the inflatable ship?
I didn't. No,
I didn't have that either. Did you have Clash of the Titans figures?
I did have Clash of the Titans.
Son of a bitch, Edmond. You're one of those guys who had like I dabble in everything, man. Toy wizard.
I my hands in. I had Star Wars obviously too. But my brother was more of the Star Wars guy. He was he was the one, he liked that stuff a lot, and I always wanted the 12-inch Star Wars.
I had those.
And I couldn't afford it, and so I only got the little guys. And my mom will always get us the little guys. So I'm like, whatever, you know. But I always wanted the bigger ones, and I'm always eyeing them on eBay and stuff like that. See how much I can. Let me see if I can afford this. But
that's wild, man. So what was there a point in time where you quit collecting toys then? Like when did you age out of it?
Yeah. I was probably. I only had at that time. I only had the little Joes.
Okay.
Little G.I. Joes. So I was about 15 at that time, and I was like a closeted toy player, basically. You know.
I was too.
My friends didn't know about this because then, you know, I lived in the hood, and all these kids, you playing with toys? What's the matter with you?
Yep.
Go with Talia. Talia, go with you. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm surprised my son hasn't ran down here half naked yet, because
my son does the same thing. He runs around naked all around the house.
We have to have talk. We haven't done it for a while, but his mom's like, hey, when Dad's doing a live stream, you got to stay up here.
Yeah.
I get it, man.
Yeah, my son, he's innocent, but he runs around naked like it's okay. Like, hey, you got to put on some pants. You know? I'm
like, dude, you can't come on a live stream out of nowhere.
With no
You're going to get Dad banned from YouTube now. Yeah. I get it.
But yeah, I think I had the Joes were the last toys that I had. I still had Star Wars, but I just kind of didn't play with them. I only played with Joes, and I was about 15, and I started hanging out with my friends, and then I was like, well, I got to get rid of these guys, and I gave them away actually to this little kid.
Oh
It was my
no.
neighbor. I was like, because he used to like come to my house and play with them, and I was like, you want them, keep them, and I gave him. It was like a big old. Imagine, I collected them since they came out till I was 15 years old. So
Oh
so
shit.
I gave them all the way to him. I remember his name is Angel. He lives in New Jersey nowadays. I don't know if I doubt he kept. I probably played with them too and destroyed them. But yeah, those were until I was 15. Then after that, I just hung out and became a street guy, always hanging out, always here and there, running around, bouncing from place to place, and just wild. I lived wild,
Yeah.
very wild. Since I was little,
You got some lore. You're getting building some lore then.
yeah, I had no supervision whatsoever, none. Like I said, I don't know if I said it live or or in private with you, but my father, unfortunately, he was a heroin addict in gangs,
Yep.
and I had single mom who was trying to work, make ends meet, and I had no supervision. So since I'm a little kid, I was like everywhere, anywhere. People were like, how old are you? And I'm like walking blocks away from where I lived. Like I live in the Bronx. Like when that story I told you about Little Italy, that's far from where I live, and during that time there was a little, racial, if you're not Italian in the Italian neighborhood, you can't hang out there,
Yeah,
So,
it's probably still that way in some of those
yeah,
places, I would imagine,
well,
but the
I
boroughs,
could blend
whatever.
in.
Yeah,
I was easy to blend in anywhere. So
yeah,
but
yeah.
most of my friends were darker skin, so I would go in there and nobody could tell. So I was, they were like, "How did you get in there?" I was like, "Man, nobody said anything."
We
So
did. That's great.
yeah, it was a crazy time, but it's very different nowadays. You go there, it's very very different.
Yeah, it was rough back in the 70s and 80s. It was I went to Catholic school and I tell my son stories all the time because he'll come home with stories from school. He's just like first grade and he's like, tell me about this kid got in trouble for this today. And I'm like, bro, I
Nothing.
was telling him some Catholic school stories. I'm like, hey man, I'm like, they used to flat out get with you when you did some shit. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. You don't know what it's like, man.
Yeah, I used to
Oh,
get whipped too. I used to hit my hand. I remember in school, whack with the yard.
oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, look, there's people, Gen Xers. That's what we are. We're Gen Xers we are a hard bunch of individuals. When I see all these Gen X memes, I laugh my ass off. But those are actually true.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about when you used to, obviously in New York is nothing like Paris, Illinois,
Mhm.
but like you, I used to just get on my bike when I was like 9 and I'd ride anywhere around town,
Yeah.
and my mom would be like, or my mom and dad would be like, hey, be home by dark. So
Yeah.
take off it. And I'll tell you, I don't know how you are with your kids, but shit, I will be on the front porch, um, sitting watching my son do something he's probably going to regret. And then he'll just disappear and I will have a freaking anxiety attack. Like I'm a 51-year-old man. I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
where's my son? Where's my son? And I'm like, my parents didn't give a shit.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I think the same thing because I'm with my kids. I'm like that. I don't take my eye off of them. Like
Me neither.
I was like, how did I even run around like that? They were not worried about me.
I know. Like what? I've had this discussion with my wife because my wife's like 15 years younger than me. We're a completely different generation. So it's really interesting to see how we interact in our worlds. But I always tell her, like, I think everything changed. And I don't know what you think. Everything changed in the 80s when that kid Adam was kidnapped. And then the news just 24 hours hammered that on all of us
Yeah,
forever. And it's just like everything slowly started to change. Back when I was a kid, it was 1986. I think I was telling you off camera. We had this, or maybe I said it on here. We had this grisly murder. They covered it on 48 hours, I think, on and then they followed it up several years later. They did like they convicted these two guys of this murder, and it turns out they're most likely innocent, but they spent time in prison, then got off. But I remember like there's a time before 86 and a time after 86 when this murder happened. And prior to 86, we were out running around doing whatever. And after 86, everything changed. Like your parents wouldn't let you go hardly anywhere. All the factories closed down. People moved away. It's like the town, my town personally died. And it's just wild when you look back in the 80s and just how loose and free we were living for a while, you know?
Do you remember that commercial? I said, "Do you know where your children are?"
Oh, yeah.
I was like, holy cow, it's this time of the night, whatever. Do you know where your children are? Because I used to be out. I was a little kid. I was just running around everywhere. I remember in the Bronx, we used to play, my friends and I, we used to play and because the Bronx was like it looked like a bomb exploded there back in those days. In 70s and 80s, it looked like the place looked like a war happened there. There was a lot of abandoned buildings, burnt down, a bunch of rubble everywhere. So we used to play, my friends and I, we used to play in abandoned buildings. And
shit.
Yeah, we used to play in abandoned buildings. I remember jumping because the floor was there. Some apartments didn't have any floors, so we used to jump over the floors to get to the other side of the building, and we used to do all kind of crazy stuff. And I remember at one point we went there. I don't know what this thing was doing there. It was because people used to dump all kind of shit there. So there was a tank, an oil tank, dumped in an abandoned building, an oil tank. And I remember my friends and I, we went in the oil tank and we closed the lid from the oil tank.
What?
We could have died in there, you know. We could have died in there.
Oh man, yeah. You ever seen those shirts? But did you die?
Yeah, did you die?
Wow, dude, that's wild.
Thinking, like, what was an oil tank doing there?
Who knows? I mean, you never know in New York, man. There's probably a lot of wild shit going on. I mean, you had the Gambino crime family was running shit then, I think, or one of the crime families was. I'm surprised you guys didn't find a body in there.
Yep. Oh yeah, surprise. Yeah. Well, it was dark as hell. I mean, if there was one there, no. But it was dark. We went in, we closed the lid, we couldn't see a damn thing, and immediately we opened it. So let's get out of here.
Oh my God. So you turned into a teenager, man, and then you started basically growing up and doing stuff. So then what was your journey from teenager to that Planet of the Apes guy? Like what?
Oh man, there's so much.
Go ahead, cliff note. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
All right.
Good.
So I'm 15. I started hanging out with my friends. I become I had a lot of friends from the streets, a lot. And
hoodlum. You became a hoodlum.
Yeah. I basically became one. You know, running around. We're doing all kind of crazy things. You name it. You know, we were doing it. We were doing all kind of stuff. I've hung out for a long time. Then we partied. A lot of my friends. You know, I have a lot of friends that are committed murder. They're in prison for murder for life. I have another friend. My best friend is in federal prison to this day. And I have friends that committed murder, went to prison, came out, and they got murdered too as well. You know,
that's lore. There's lore. Yeah. There's some more lore for you. I hate to tell people that, like this is like real life. This is the shit that really happens. I mean,
yeah. So I got involved with a lot of crazy guys growing up, and when my friends, like I told you, they were in prison, at some point, I remember the police had us with, okay, tell them, I'll clean them now, okay, in a little while. They stopped us in the street, right? They had us, they made us take off our clothes, and they told us, hey, you got to take off your underwear too. I told them, I'm not taking off my underwear. We're out here in the street. So they were laid us all on the floor, on the ground, in the middle of the street. They stopped traffic and everything. They had us there with like weapons and everything out, and they were looking for drugs, and which we had, but at that time we didn't. But they knew we had something, you know. They knew we had something. They just caught us at the wrong time, and they were angry that we didn't have anything. And so I kind of started thinking about it. I was like, oh, they're definitely watching us. You know, they know what's up, and So I kept going for a little while, and then, like I mentioned about my dad being a
Uh-huh.
heroin addict. So one day we're at the spot, doing our thing, and here comes this heroin addict looking for, a bag, whatever, and then he comes with a toy, right? And so he says, "Oh, he had some electronic toy. I don't know. I was probably about 19, 20 at the time. He came with this electronic toy, and he's like, "Hey, I only got $5 in this." So my friend, he's like, "Let me get the one who's in federal prison right now." He's like, "Let me get it. Let me see." And he starts playing with it, and he's like, "Let me get the $5. Here's the bag." And then I told my friend, I said, "Hey, give that toy back to him." And he's like, "No." I said, "Give it back to him." And it's like, "Why? I'll give you the money. Give him the toy back." And then I looked at the addict, and I told him, "Don't ever come around here with toys. Don't come around here again with toys." I told him like that, because my dad used to bring me toys, but he also used to take away.
Yep.
So it kind of hit me right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's probably that for sure. It's like a sign. That's like the
yeah,
universe. That's the universe sending you a sign. I always feel that way.
yeah. So after that, we went to the chicken spot, whatever, because we always did. After I think a lot of drug dealers do the same thing. We went to the chicken spot, get some fried chicken, whatever, and then we're there. And I take out
They didn't have Chick-fil-A back then. You're rolling.
so I took out all the money. Every month, all the money I had in my pocket was a big roll. I remember, and I put it on the table and I gave it to my friend. I told him, "Hey, I don't want anything to do with this," and that was it for me. And then after that, I joined the army, and while in the army, my friends used to write to me because they were already in prison by then, and they used to. I was like the middleman, contacting like from prison to prison,
Uh-huh.
the orders given. It was crazy. Like I was out of it, but I was still
Still in it.
involved. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's crazy. I mean, like, yeah, I always tell everybody, like, one of my favorite books of all time. I don't know if you've ever read the book called The Alchemist.
no, I
I
never. I
always tell
heard it was
everybody you should, if you like to read that book, because it's one of my favorite books, because it's about omens and signs, and it's got a lot of really cool life lessons in it. And to this day, it's just one of my favorite things when I get like depressed, or I get down about just the whole state of the fucking world. I will read this book, and it always makes me feel better, because it's always like, you're in my heart. I always think I'm always where I'm supposed to be. Like,
Mhm.
this is exactly where you're supposed to be,
Yeah.
And when you tell that story, which is a great story to share with people, yeah, you get signs, I think, from whoever. And whether, if you're a Christian, it's God. If you're other religions, it's whatever. But you get a sign, and then it's your job to see if you take that sign or not. And you
Yeah.
took that sign, and it's fascinating. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then after that, I just kind of, I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know what to. I mean, like I said, I had no supervision, no role models really, and I was just running around everywhere, doing whatever job, whatever. And I really, the army. Although I always thought the army was gonna be the thing for me because of GI Joe, but once I was in it, I was like, this is not for me. My brother actually retired from the army.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, my brother retired. Yeah,
So he spent over 25 years.
yeah. He went to Iraq, I think twice. I think.
Oh, wow.
So he was there 20 something years. And then he got out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I was like, nah, this is not the life for me.
Well, you're like you said, you were jumping out of airplanes, right?
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
in the 82nd Regiment.
Takes a special guy to jump out of an airplane, I've always
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. After starting doing that, I was like, what was I thinking? I was
So
like,
you
but
so
I
you
did it.
so you get out of the army, and then what's going on?
Then after that, I was again, I didn't know what to do with myself. I went to what I know. I know how to ride a bicycle. I know New York City. I ran around enough, so I became a bicycle messenger for years.
That is fucking nuts. You're the only
Yeah,
bicycle messenger I know in the whole world. I hope you know
yeah,
that now. That is the craziest shit in the world.
yeah.
That's got to be a dangerous job, dude.
It is. Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of friends that got killed.
Well,
Yeah,
I bet.
people had accidents. I had accidents myself. I got doored
Wow.
many times, and that's part of the problem with my back too. That the parachuting and this job, you know, and I liked it. You know, I liked it. It was the community there was pretty cool in the beginning. For me, it was we were very pretty united. We were pretty fun. Then it got a little weird after some point, but that's where my actually the Moondoggy comes from. The Moondoggy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought about that. So, like, where's the what? How's that relate to it?
Well, because my name is Edmond, right? So in
Okay.
Spanish, my name in Spanish is Edmundo, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
So
Okay.
the people who knew my name in Spanish will call me Mundo, and the people who didn't know Spanish thought they were saying Moondog. So people started just calling me Moondog out of nowhere, and I was like, "Well, I guess I'll take it," and
That's
that's where
dope.
that came from. And then the howling is from from the movie,
Okay.
because
Oh yeah, that's a great movie.
yeah, that's that movie. It made an impact on me. That movie and a lot of things. It was just. Uh, I think I have on Snapchat. I think Eddie the Mangler is like my name there. It's like Moondoggy Eddie the Mangler because
Let me
you
give
know
you a
how they
piece
thought
of
it was
my
a serial.
mind.
Yeah, they thought it was a serial killer and the Howling, the guy, and it was it's a wolf. It's a wolf man, whatever.
He's a
And
fucking werewolf. You're like, oh
yeah,
shit, that makes a
so
lot of sense now.
yeah, so I don't know. That movie was. I was a little kid. I went to the theater to see it with my brother. I don't even know how they let us go in there.
We could do that when we were kids, man. I mean, we could go see. We could handle shit like that.
The sex scene. The first time I was aroused, like I was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
What is this shit? This is a fucking. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like me when I saw Conan the Barbarian. Like my
Oh
dad
yeah, that's
covers
cool.
my
Yeah.
eyes during the witch scene, but then when
Yeah.
Sandal Bergman's walking around with her top off the whole time, my dad's just like, let me watch that willy nilly. I'm like, and he has
I
no
went
clue. Like,
I went to see that with my brother too. We were both little. I mean, if you look at we were
yeah,
both kids. We
ah,
went to see that, and I
fucking,
saw a lot of movies with my brother. We were kids, and I don't know how the hell. Back then they used to just let us in. It didn't matter. My mom took me to watch Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. I think
oh
we went to see that movie
wow.
with us, and I didn't even know what was
Oh,
going on in the movie.
my dad would take me to see Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder movies.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Um, I want to say my dad and I went and watched, back then the movies would come around more than once,
Mhm.
you know. So my dad took me to see Blazing Saddles
Oh my
when I
god!
was a kid. And oh man, that was a wild fucking movie. I mean, that was hilarious. But I'm a little kid. I have no idea what's going
Yeah.
on in half those movies. But that's
And
just
I watch them now as an adult. It's just like, whoa, they let me watch that movie.
oh, I vet shit. I vet tons of shit for my son to watch. Like, but then I think to myself, like, God, I saw like Death Wish
Yeah.
on VHS when I
Yep.
was like, I don't know, 9. And
Mhm.
that's a rough movie, dude.
Yeah.
Uh is it Last House on the Left? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I seen that. Yep.
I saw that when I was probably 9 or 10. I'm like, these are rough freaking movies. I mean, if you saw those today, like you would be pretty disturbed. But I watched those as a kid. I'm like, this is pretty wild.
Yeah, I
You
know. Yeah. So,
know?
whoa, this is crazy. Like it was all right for us. I was like, whoa, So yeah. Then I don't know. After that, the army. I came out as a bike messenger for some years. I went to school to university, and I decided to go to school at I don't know. I was probably around 30 years old at the time.
Okay.
And I was much older than everybody else, and I studied art. And when I
Oh,
came out,
cool.
yeah, when I came out of there, I got a job as an art teacher.
Wow.
I did it for 3 years. I quit
Yeah.
the first year. I was like, nah, I can't be in an office. I told him I can't be in here in this building. I was so used to being out, outside. I worked as a bicycle messenger to become a teacher. It was two different worlds where I work. I don't have nobody over my shoulder. I'm just working, and so I go to become a teacher. The first year I quit, and during the school year, and all the kids send me cards to that to come back, and I felt bad, and I was like, well, I'll come back, and I came back. They gave me, hey, take a 2-week vacation, come back. I was like, all right. So I went back. I did it for 2 more years, but this time I was smart about it. I was like, hey, I quit during like summertime.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
kids weren't in school. I was like, hey, I'm done. Like it's not for me,
yeah.
And I went back to being a bicycle messenger.
No kidding.
Yeah, and actually they had like they took some photos of me. Some guy he chased me on his bicycle. I could hear him like breathing behind me, and so I finally stopped because I got to deliver a package. So he's like sweating. I'm like fresh, and he's like all sweaty. He's like, hey, and I look at him and say, yeah, I noticed you're following me. What's up? And he's like, yeah, I want to take some pictures of you for a magazine. And,
Whoa!
and I'm like, okay, can you meet me at the studio? So I went there, and I think it was Men's Health, Men's Health
Oh, really?
magazine.
The
Yeah,
magazine?
yeah. That was in 2012, and they took pictures of me and some of my other friends, and we were in that in one of the, in that magazine, Men's Health.
That's super dope, man. I was probably reading Men's Health. I was reading Men's Health and Men's Journal probably back
Yeah,
in
I still
2012.
have the magazine somewhere around there, but
Wow, dude, that is super cool.
yeah. So it was I like the messenger community was pretty cool when I was there. I don't know, at some point it just kind of started getting too weird with all the uh social stuff going on.
Yep.
And
I'm sure there's a bunch of just interesting personalities that get into stuff like that. I know bike riders.
yeah.
Like I have some friends who are just cyclists
Hmm.
and they're oddballs. I can't
Yeah.
imagine people who are cyclists delivering packages in a big city. It's
Oh
almost
yeah.
it was kind of cultish,
Yeah.
very much
It's
so.
kind of, yeah, it's cultish, and then there's like a like I would say like a subculture of like the motorcycle club kind of thing
Yep,
too.
I
They
can
have like,
imagine.
yeah, like I was part of a bicycle messenger club when I was a messenger. So like we had vests and all that stuff. We all hung out together. We went to bars together.
Were
You
they
know.
denim vests?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like we used to wear as kids with our
Yep.
metal back
Yep.
patches. Yep, there
Yep.
you go, man. It's
Oh,
always
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I would swear to God, Edmund, everything becomes a cult eventually.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
toy communities. It doesn't matter. Beer. I used to be a real big beer guy, beer, whiskey, and I've been to enough of all those things that it starts getting really weird because
Yeah.
people start you go there and you're like, I don't belong here.
Yeah, yeah, that's what happened to me. I
Yep.
went the last time I went was I think it was 2016. I went to hang out with all those guys, and that's how I felt. I was like, I'm not part of this world anymore.
Yep.
I don't belong here. And it was so crazy. And then I had a friend of mine there who, with this whole Antifa thing.
Yep.
At that time, he was like, "Hey, are you gonna be part of Antifa?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not part of it, you're gonna be the enemy. And I looked at him, and I was like,
Yikes.
you really think I'm your enemy? You
Yeah.
really gonna say that to me? And I was like, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm done with you guys. I'm out of here.
Unfortunately, when you get into groups, it does become really cultish, and I've had to leave a few groups that have gotten super weird over the last probably 15 years or so.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then it's kind of, I mean, you're obviously a father and you have kids, and it's something weird happens when you start having kids.
yeah,
Um, everything around you, like all the noise that you used to just listen to, kind of just becomes irrelevant, and you
hmm,
start like, I gotta fucking make sure this kid can survive in the world, man.
yeah.
And
Make it.
so you stop being a bike messenger, and then what? Then what happens?
I was gonna mention. Now you're talking about kids. I do have older kids. I
Oh,
have,
do you?
yeah, I have a son who's 30 and one who's 25.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, but I mean, I paid my child support, but I was not a responsible dad. I
Oh, yeah. How old were you? You're what? 50? You said you're 52.
52,
So
yeah.
you were in your early 20s when you had,
Yeah, I was
kids.
so wild. I was like hanging out. I
Yeah.
used to actually when my son was a baby, my 30-year-old, I used to live with Latin King like gang members
Uh huh.
back in the Bronx, and we used to all live in this little apartment, and a lot of crazy shit happened in there. Although I was kind of, I was kind of like an outsider, but and they all knew me from the streets, and they knew that I would get down if we had to get into a fight or whatever. I'm down, I'm down. So they had that respect for me. They never tried jumping me in. They will ask me, "Hey, you want to get jumped in?" I'm gonna be like, "Fuck no." I'm not gonna get punched by you.
I don't want to get beat up by anybody. I just want to
Yeah,
sit at
like,
home.
all right, I'll defend myself by myself. I don't need you guys. But they still hung out with me.
Yeah.
But my kid was he was a baby. My 30-year-old, he was a baby during that time. And I was gonna mention that when he was a little bit older, I used to go to toy stores to get him stuff for Christmas and stuff like that. And that's when I would see the other Joes, the newer like these guys, and stuff like that. And I used to always look at them and say, man, if I was a kid right now,
Dude.
I used to just stare at them. And I remember my son liked the Matrix, and I bought him the 12-inch Matrix action figures, like all of them for him. He still has them.
That's awesome.
He saved them in the box and everything. I was like, what?
That's great.
Yeah. So, but I remember going, since he wasn't into G.I. Joe, he was more into the Matrix and other stuff. He was starting to get into video games and stuff. So
yeah,
I remember going to Toys R Us and stuff like that and looking at the Joes on the aisles, and I'm like, man, like if I was a kid right now, I would buy all these guys. Hey Jeff, you don't mind putting me on a break here? I'm gonna listen to my kid real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah,
I'll be right back.
All right, dude. We'll mute you. All right. Let's jump in the comments real quick. We're waiting on Edmond, guys. Thanks everybody for joining. This is fun as hell conversation. I think I told Edmond before we got started. I love talking to people and finding out their stories. It's super fun, and it's just like I always say, like lore. Lore is one of the most important things, and that's kind of what everybody has. And it's super exciting just to hear everybody's stories. And I've talked to a lot of you guys out there, and it's always fun because I remember every single conversation that I have with everybody, from the very first live stream I did up to tonight. I'll just probably sit and think about that every time I see pictures and photographs of people that post online. So yeah, this is really fun, man. What are you guys up to in the comments? Let's see. We got Murray. Yeah, thanks, Murray. I talk a lot. I spend a lot of time at work talking to people, and fortunately or unfortunately, that's what I do. Yes, Stacy's right. Everyone does have an interesting story. Talking to Stacy, speaking of Stacy's story about going back to his home in Florida and seeing if he could dig up his G.I. Joes is something that just stuck with me. Every time I go in my parents' backyard, I think about Stacy. I'm like, I gotta dig that G.I. Joe up sometime. Here comes Edmund. Let's get him back on here. Hold on a second. Let's unmute you.
I used to see those Joes in the aisles, and that's why I started, getting these modern Joes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just reminded me. I was like, damn, I missed out on this time, so, I worked, and at some point working as a messenger when things started, when they first started getting weird in the beginning. That was around 2011, 2012. And I didn't, I was 38, I believe, around there. And I lived in a little room in the Bronx. It was all I could afford. And there I was like, okay, I'm 38. I'm living in this little room, I'm sitting on my bed and the wall was like right there. And I was like, and this is my life. I got to do something about this. This can't be it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I kept working as a messenger. I had no skills nowhere. I didn't know anything. I knew how to steal. I knew how to commit crimes and all kind of stuff. That came very easy. It's what I grew up learning.
I call that survival. You need survival skills.
Survival skills. Yeah. So, but I needed some, where I can move and get a job easy, and I don't know. I was just kind of running around, working as a messenger. And one day it was November. It was rainy. It was cold. I worked outdoors, and I'm cold, rain. It was a long day. And I wouldn't take the train. I used to just ride from Manhattan to the Bronx on my bicycle at the end of the day. And in the morning, the same thing. So So I was just tired, cold, wet, and so I took the train that day. So I sit in the train all soaking wet, dripping water, and I look at they have like these little announcements on the top of the train
The little
in the
things you
car.
pull off, or
Yeah, yeah.
yep.
And it says, learn how to weld,
Fuck yeah, let's
call this
go.
number. Yeah, call this number. And I'm like, well, I mean, let me give him a call. I gave him a call the next day, and I became a welder after that. And that was it. After that, I just started working as a welder. I was still a little wild, still a little bit wild. I moved here to Nebraska. My welding brought me here.
Uh-huh.
I met a girl here. I had my older young son here, and I guess I had like a midlife crisis. And I was like, I got in the train here in Nebraska, took the train, took all the way to Sacramento, California. I needed to move. I needed to travel, because that's what I did all my life.
Yep.
I moved around all over the place. So I needed to move. So I told the girl, I don't know if I'm coming back. Got in the train, left. And she was pregnant. And I got in the train and left. And I'm in California. I don't know anybody there. I start meeting bicycle people because I took my bicycle with me. And messengers over there, they were always very, hey, you can stay in my house. So I stayed in their house, hung out in California. Then from California, I went to Denver first.
That's great city.
Yeah, I went to Denver first.
There's bike messengers there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I met bike messengers there.
Yep.
I partied for a little while, and then I went to California. And I partied in California, hung out over there. Then I was like, all right, when am I going to go now? So I'll go back to New York, to where I know. So I go back to New York, and then from New York, I'm hanging out in New York. Then I was like, well, let me go somewhere else. So I go to North Carolina and Charlotte, and that's where I'm at the moment. And I'm hanging out there, meeting girls, partying, and having the time of my life. Yeah. And
how old are you then?
Oh my goodness, I was in my 40s now.
Holy shit, brother! How do you have the energy in your 40s? I would have been dying.
Yeah, I was in my 40s, in my early 40s. Yeah, and that's why I had like a midlife crisis. I was like, I've never been, in one place for too long. My friends used to always call me the vagabond.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Not
that I lived in the street. It was just I never lived somewhere too long. It's like I was always moving. Like I could be in a party with you today. Like we're hanging out, having a party, drinking, whatever. Then the next day it's like, hey, what we gonna do today? I was like, I don't know. I'm in Puerto Rico.
I'm moving.
I took a plane to Puerto Rico last night after the party. I'm over here now. I would do stuff like that. People would be like, where's your stuff? I said, I will leave everything behind. Furniture, anything. I'll leave anything behind. I was not attached to anybody or nothing. And which is why I never grabbed any toys to collect myself. That's the whole reason. I knew I will leave it behind. So I go New York, North Carolina. I'm back in New York, and I'm living in this chick's house, and my son is born. So I come to Nebraska to see my son. I go back to New York, and my head is, I'm thinking, it's bothering me that my kid is over here and I'm over there, and I talk to my older son, who has a good head on his shoulder. so he's like the opposite of me. He's responsible.
That's crazy. I mean, that's cool that it worked out that way, right?
Yeah. So I talked to him, and I asked my son for advice, because I know I'm being irresponsible. So I told him, hey, what do you think? He was like, Dad, don't do the same thing you did to me and my brother. Go back over there, raise your kid. And then I'm like, you're right. I told him, you're right. Thank you. And I bought a plane ticket, and I was gone the next day. And I've been here. And then when I came here, I actually had that tailor from that girl that had my kid. Mm-hmm. And I went and got my tailor, and I brought it home to where I live. I took it with me. I was living in a van at first. I didn't have a place to live here in Nebraska, so I was living in a van. And I took my tailor with me and my things. And then finally, when I got my apartment, I brought in my tailor and I put him there. I was still partying. Don't get me wrong. But I was being responsible. Working. Taking care of my kid. Picking him up. Hanging out with him. And doing that stuff, but still partying, being crazy. And that's when I met the kids that live with me, that's when I met their mom. And then by the time they were born, I already had a bunch of other action figures in my house. I already had bought a bunch of
So
them.
this is where you're at now, then.
Yeah,
Kinda.
and the picture taking started. Well, when I started getting the figures, I started getting into these 1/6 groups, and
Yeah.
and I would take the picture of the figure, no background or anything, just the figure standing there on the stand, those little stands, and that was it. That's what I was doing. And I went into these groups where, when it gets cultist, kind of like, with the hot toys and stuff. There was a lot of hot toy guys, and they're criticizing everything. Like if I put,
This guy's the fucking worst.
oh my goodness, and I would get into arguments, and
Oh.
this guy Michael, I guess he noticed. And Michael, he was like, "Hey, I got a group that I think you fit in. You fit right in." I'll say, "What group is this?" It's the action figure playhouse.
Okay. There you
And
go.
so I go there. He invites me over to the group. I go there, and he wasn't wrong. I was like, "Oh, this is more like me." You have vintage toys, more like, a different vibe here. And that's when I started, because I've seen I've seen a lot of pictures of action figures. I've seen a lot of pictures of, very detailed pictures of things and this and that, but it never caught my eye until when I joined Action Figure Playhouse and I saw Rick's pictures. I was just like, "What's this?" It was just it. I thought it was special. I was like, "Why? How is this guy?" You know, I don't want to call him a minimalist because he has a lot of things, and I think all of us are. We can't consider ourselves minimalists.
No, we
But
can't.
when it came
We're all mentally ill in our own way, right?
Yeah, but when it came to picture taking, I feel like Rick was like a minimalist. He used the minimum things to get a point across, and then his pictures were just like, you take a, like, what the hell is that? Like, this is insane. How is this? When I started asking him, like, because I was just posting pictures of my action figures just standing there doing nothing, and I saw his pictures. Although I've seen pictures before with a lot of detail and everything, they're, very, very nice looking. But for some reason, his pictures just like caught my eye. Where I was like, wait, I want to do something like this. And I asked him, like, what do you use for your backgrounds? He was like, the pipes under my sink. The microwave, a
He
microwave.
literally does. He
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
And I'm like,
does.
yeah, I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah. So he was like, yeah, just use anything around you. And so I went with that. I mean, I'm not trying to be like Rick, because Rick has an eye that's just crazy. I don't know where, his when he takes a picture, it's just incredible to me, what he does with the little bit that he has in the back, But I try to use that. I use whatever's around me to create my backgrounds, and I don't go crazy buying dioramas or making dioramas or anything like that. I just
Nope.
use stuff that makes looks like other things, but that I don't want that to be my focus. I want my focus to be probably more on the action figure or the
Mhm.
scene that's happening more than the background. Sometimes I feel like you're looking at everything. You're like, ooh, look at that mini phone that's there, or that little ashtray on the desk, and you lose, you know, what you actually wanted to convey in the picture.
Yeah, you kind of like you want to develop your kind of own identity. If that makes
Mhm.
sense, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the cool thing. Like with everybody, kind of in I spend some time on the Action Figure Playhouse. I really find it fascinating to look at everybody's pictures because there's so many diverse pictures on there, and there's so many people with different interests. And then you get on some of the other Joe groups, and you'll see people who do take action figure pictures, but there's a lot of people that just post pictures of like, hey, this is what I bought today, and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah, which is cool too. But I think it's one of the things about the Golden Skull that really I enjoyed was seeing each person who participated individual identity come through. If that
Yeah.
makes sense,
Yep.
their own tastes, and like
Mhm.
obviously you take amazing photographs, and
Thank
you were an art
you.
teacher for 3 years, which
Yeah.
nobody would have known that had
Mhm.
you just not told us that
Yeah.
you were an art teacher for 3 years. And it is interesting because like your life, you know, everything that you've shared with us tonight and everything that you've experienced, your lore, all leads up and culminates to like who you are as a person. And that's how you kind of, if it makes sense, that's what you draw your inspiration from to be a collector and stuff. Like, do you feel like your collection kind of has stabilized, your wild side at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I find
Yeah.
myself kind of wanting to, instead of like wanting to be outside and partying and being crazy. I'm more like I'm outside. Like I could be at work welding, and I'm like, man, I want to work on this picture that and that's what's in my head. I want to go work on the story I want to make, or I want to, get some sculpting and make this stuff that I want to do for this picture or this story or whatever, or paint this or paint that. So yeah, it has helped me kind of stay home, basically, like not be out there wanting to party and be crazy.
That's interesting that you mentioned that. That's kind of why I asked that, because during no, I would say prior to COVID, but during that time period, I had friend groups, and mostly guys I worked with, and we would get together every week and we'd drink and sit on a porch and just talk about life and stuff. It was kind of like, we called it beer and cigars. And unfortunately, during COVID and all the other bullshit that was going on at the time, depending on the politics and everything else, it kind of just fractured our group. And I found myself at some point in time, I was having more enjoyment out of being in my workshop, making customs, and going out and doing photo stories and just playing with my toys in a lot of ways than I was finding hanging out with my friends, drinking, and doing other shit that I used to really, really enjoy doing, which in a certain point in my life. But then I had my son, and then I was like, well, I need to figure out something that I can share with him, like a hobby that we can do together. We can go outside, we can play with toys, we can take photos, and we can do all this stuff. And that's what I started doing. And I just and I just kind of transitioned out of that life, and I enjoy more doing this shit than I do most anything else, outside of family stuff. Because there's a fulfillment. I don't know if you feel the same way, but there's a fulfilling thing about making something and sharing it with our community, and then everybody's like, it makes people happy.
Yeah. Yep.
You
No,
know?
it does. I feel the same way. It's very. I mean, I'm glad that. I'll be honest. Like when you came up with the golden skull thing, the way I wasn't gonna do a photo story. I was just gonna do one picture and that's it. But I did one picture. One picture led to another picture, and then I was like, okay, what? I was never really was into the photo story thing, and I was like, let me see what this photo story is all about. And I went to your YouTube channel and I started watching all your photo stories. Like I kind of binged on them. I was like, oh, this is what this is. This looks like fun. I was like, this is fun, and that's when I started building that whole like the golden skull story. And then from there, it's like now it's like I want to do more. I did the two more, and I want to. Right now I'm working like at 2 or 3 at the same time. Right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got so much enjoyment out of all you guys participating. You're like I told you, your story was one of the really, really cool, well thought out. I mean, they're all cool and awesome. They all are awesome in their own ways. But I think you, and then Robert's, and then Adam's stories, they're all so unique in their own way. And I just really enjoyed the one that you did with Death. Hella, was that Hella? The guy. Yeah, I enjoyed all that, and then how you incorporated the time shifts and everything into that story, and it was just really cool. And I get joy out of seeing all you guys do that stuff, because it's just like we all have these toys, we all have these action figures, and we all have these shelf queens that sit around. But I say this all the time to everybody: you can have all this shit displayed, but why? What are you getting out of it?
Yeah.
Do something with it. And people go, well, I just don't have the creativity. I'm like, fucking everybody's got creativity. Everybody who was ever a kid was doing something when they were a kid. You still have that person inside of you. Don't, like, that's not gone. It's just dormant. It's like a muscle that you haven't exercised.
Yeah.
Everybody can do it, whether it's taking a picture or a photo story or doing a custom. And people are always like, "Oh, well, mine's gonna look like shit." I'm like, dude, it's all subjective. Don't fucking worry about it. Just do it, and nobody's gonna shit on it. If anybody shits on something you've done, then they're just an asshole, and you shouldn't worry about them in the first place.
Yeah, you should just do what you love. I mean, if you love doing it, and it's like I mentioned, like I did the one picture led to another picture, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, see how it comes out. You know,
it was great, and you knocked it out of the park with that first one.
Thank
and
you.
Man, so you sent me some pictures.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a few of these pictures
of little me,
little you. So this is you, man. How old are you here?
I don't know, man. I was probably Star Wars. That's the first Star Wars that came out.
77, 78?
Yeah, we were playing with Star Wars. Yeah, probably in the 70s.
Look at you, man. Good looking little kid. Is that your brother there?
Yeah, that's my brother.
He's having a fight with Obi-Wan and a Tusken Raider.
Tusken Raider, yeah. Obi-Wan was his. Obi-Wan was his, and the Tusken Raider was mine.
No shit. That's a great picture. Look at that. Now, do you have red hair?
Yeah, it's kind of blondish red. Yeah.
Yeah. So that had to be tough growing up as a redhead, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Everybody, hey, the sun is for free, right? You can get a tan. I'm like, whatever.
I always tell everybody redheads are the one minority that gets no respect.
Yeah, none. Yeah, none. My brother, he's like, look at him. He's like dark. And
and here's you. Here's little Edmond. Edmond just sitting there, doesn't even look. He doesn't look like anybody.
No. Yeah. Everybody, he used to stick out like a sore thumb, especially in Puerto Rico. I'm like, oh my goodness.
So is this in Puerto Rico?
That one is in Puerto Rico. Yep.
That's great.
When we moved over there. Yeah, we moved over there. We were little kids. We moved over there.
That's a great picture. It's just a classic picture, man, from back in the day. So that's probably like 77, 78. Look at you.
Yeah.
Got your jeans on, your shoes. That's a great shirt.
Adidas or something there. I don't
know. You know something, dude? You could remake this outfit and probably sell it for about $200 or $300 to some millennial.
Yeah.
They would actually love it. So then you sent me another picture.
Yeah. Oh, with the toy soldiers.
Look at you. You can put this on Toy Soldier Tuesday here.
Yeah, I said, Paul, my dad actually took that picture.
Did he?
Yeah, because I put all my toys in formation. See how they're all stand? That's King Kong back there, too, that little brown one.
Oh, wow. Paul Knapp's probably looking at this right now. He's broken down the whole set. He could probably tell you what's worth.
Yeah, he knows the whole set, what's in there. He knows everything.
He's probably, I don't know, do you watch Toy Soldier Tuesdays?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
What a bunch of fucking psychopaths on that show, huh? Wow.
They have so many things. It's just like, man, I've been tempted to get some of that stuff.
Oh, I don't even want to participate in that because that shit, those guys, I mean, they're going to solve serial killer murders on that show. They're going to have some guy on there who has this massive collection, and you're going to be like, wait a second, is that the Zodiac killer? Those guys are next level. Paul was telling me about that Chicago toy show, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Those guys are crazy. And this is my favorite photo you sent me here.
Yeah. I didn't think anybody was into that, into the toy soldiers until I started watching Paul's. I was like,
me neither. I didn't realize what it was. And now I realize they might be a terrorist cell.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is great.
Favorite picture here, huh?
Wow, dude.
Darth Vader in the middle.
This picture is everybody's childhood from 1978.
Yep.
Look at that baby.
Yeah, man, I wish I had those guys. When we play with those, we watch the cartoons.
Oh,
the anime, but they had it was anime, right? It was.
Yeah, that was what you said. Is that in Puerto Rico?
That's in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Yeah, because Roberto Acevedo, he's a big Jumbo Machindra fan too, and he grew up in Puerto Rico as well, and I didn't realize how big those Japanese robot cartoons were in like a lot of your Spanish speaking countries, and also like over in like France and shit. Like, I didn't realize that.
That's huge in Puerto Rico. These guys, it's huge. These guys right here. It was like, I still have a friend from there that he has a huge collection of.
Really?
Yeah. And he's still like, there's some that are still coming out. I guess they're not. I don't think they're the same size. and
Oh,
he buys them. He's like he has a
oh, absolutely. It's got a it's kind of like, it's not nearly as intense as the toy soldier community, but the Jumbo Machindo community, and I think Robert Acevedo, or not Robert Max Sog
yeah.
can speak to this as well. Like the sub collecting culture of this community is pretty fucking wild too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've touched that burner a couple times, and I'm
Man,
like,
I've been
I
wanting
don't
to get this guy again for some
know.
time. They're so expensive.
I never had one as a kid, and
Yeah,
then I decided to buy one for my son,
yeah,
and it was like almost like a drug addiction.
yeah.
And my wife finally had to just tell us like, "Hey,
Calm down.
we don't like she's like, his room isn't big enough for
Yeah.
any more of these." I'm like, "No!"
Man, those toys were so cool. I mean, everything was like
So,
my brother and I, we used to go at it with those things.
oh, dude, this is a great picture. Like, this is a classic, awesome '70s pictures, and thanks for sharing all three of these with me. When you when you sent those to me, and you told me, oh, these are, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna actually just set these aside for when we have our discussion, because those are great pictures, man. And I just think it's awesome, dude. So as we get close to wrapping this up, man, what's your favorite cartoon?
Oh man, I don't know. So many. I haven't thought about one. Yeah.
Tough,
That's
isn't it?
that's a tough one. There's so many good things. In a weird way, I mean, I don't know. I like old stuff. Uh, I like a lot of old stuff. Like I used to watch Star Trek a lot. I used to like the cartoon from Star Trek.
Oh, the one
As
from
a
the was
kid,
that the one
I
in
don't.
the '70s? The
Yeah,
'70s, yeah.
yeah. As a kid, it was like my other friends were like, "You watch that?" I was like, "Yeah." I mean, it's weird. I used to watch Planet of the Apes. I used to love those cartoons too. It's just and the old Marvel ones that were just kind of basically comic book cartoon
Hmm.
type. So
Like some shit we would make now with our iPhones or our cell
yeah,
phones.
yeah. So those have been my favorite for a long time. But after that, I will have to say like Johnny Quest is probably the top one for me.
Yeah, yeah. Johnny Quest is great.
Yeah.
All right, so what what's your favorite GI Joe in your collection? Do you have
Ooh,
one?
tough. Mm, in my collection, I let me look around. I don't know.
Have you got one like everybody's like, if you were gonna have to save one? Oh, how about this? Since we had this discussion, if you have a mid '50s crisis, hopefully you don't, and you decide I'm fucking moving,
Yeah,
you got to take one with you. Who are you taking?
I'm taking my Bullet Man with me. Yeah, taking Bullet
Your Bullet Man. Okay, that's great,
Man.
dude.
It's just a lot of nostalgia there. You know.
That's Murray Corrigan's favorite figure, Bullet Man.
I'll
Isn't that
take him
right, Murray?
just how he is. I don't don't mess with him or anything. He's just fine like that. I mean,
Bullet
yeah,
Man's great. I'm working on a
yeah.
Bullet Man story, so
I'll be conflicted between grabbing my Captain America and my 12-inch Captain America Mego and Bullet Man. I'll be conflicted with that.
oh
I'll be like,
man.
but definitely my Bullet Man,
So
Joe's.
so what can we expect from Moondoggy the rest of the year? You got anything else planned?
Yeah, I'm working on photo stories now.
Okay.
I'm still taking pictures, not as often because I'm working on all these stories that I want to. They're all in my head, so I need to get them out before I'm working on a detective serial killer. Uh,
Oh yes, I saw your customs you were making for that. Those
yeah,
look fucking creepy.
yeah.
That looked
So
real creepy.
yeah, I'm working on that, and I'm using a when they find out who the serial killer is. The way they find out. I don't want to say it, but what I'm using what I'm using is something that actually happened in prison in Puerto Rico. So I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah, let's go, baby.
that's how they find that this guy's a serial killer, and so I'm using kind of like that lure, I guess that that's
Oh,
stuff that
dude,
I like
I
learn in
love
the
it.
streets. Yeah, and so I'm working on that. I'm working on a pirate, a pirate story. This all comes from the Golden Skull story. The detective is the same detective that's in the Golden Skull story. That's the first part. And the pirates are the same pirates that are in the Golden Skull story. And right now I'm taking pictures for from Cowboys, and it's also the translucent guys. That they at the end of one of the stories that I made, they
time travelers.
They go to the West. They said, let's go back to, I always wanted to live in the West. So that's where it's taking place, in the West. They're in the West. So
you have made a great cowboy, I think.
My dad was, I always said my dad was born in the wrong place. Yeah. He used to dress as a cowboy in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Just, it made no sense. He used to sit with me. This was the funny thing about my dad. We used to watch a lot of cowboy movies and a lot of detective movies. And my dad, although he was a career criminal, he had so much respect for the police officers and detectives and stuff like that.
Something?
Yeah, and even I've seen my dad get arrested in front of me, a few times, and I would get angry as a kid, and he was like, "No, they're doing their job. Calm down. I'm in the wrong here. You're in the right." And he would just get arrested, go to prison. And I always had that in my head. I always had that.
We're all characters in a show. Sometimes I think,
Yeah.
Especially now more than ever. I think that we're just all characters in a big show. Yeah. I'm just not sure what's going on.
Yeah, he never said what he was doing was right. He always said, "I'm in the wrong." He always, this is not right what I'm doing. So I get
it. This has been awesome, Edmond. I loved it. Man, this is a fun conversation. You got some lore, and I love it. I love your journey, man. The journey's amazing, and I love your collection. I love everything about it, man. And I can't wait to see what else you're going to come up with this year. And then obviously you're going to participate in Hunters of the Unknown next year, which I know is going to be really, really great. And dude, this has been super fun, man. Before we go, man, tell everybody where we can find you and what social media and stuff you use. Just the usual. I always go through.
Yeah. Well, you can find me on Facebook under my name, Edmond DeJesus, or DeJesus, however you want to say it. And you can find me there. You'll see me in the groups in the Action Figure Playhouse and the Axis of Awesome. I'm G.I. Joe Experience, all that stuff. I'm on Instagram as Howling Moondoggy. I think I something like I think so.
Yeah, I think it's what it is.
Yeah.
Your name pops up too. Your name pops up there, I think, too.
Yeah.
Edmond DeJesus on there.
Yeah. So I'm in those two groups mainly. I'm in Snapchat, but it's kind of boring there for you guys probably because it's just my work when I'm welding and stuff like that. So it's not no fun.
You do do TikTok?
But I haven't gone in it in a while. But I need to get back in it.
Yeah, I don't do TikTok at all. But
I started, but kind of I don't know. I just got bored. I like Instagram better than TikTok.
Yeah, I'm almost to the point now where it's exhausting to post on anything. Yeah, just YouTube. I'm just doing YouTube now. I'm just like, I'm just going to YouTube. Yeah. My algorithm's too crazy. If any of these guys in the chat could see my algorithm on any of my social media stuff, they'd be like, something.
Especially if you have a lot of things going on, it's just kind of hard to keep up with all the apps and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Well, Edmond, I really had a great time. Hang around backstage. We'll wrap this thing up, dude. This is great. Let's do it again. Let's do it again next year. And I can't wait to see how your journey keeps going, man, because this is awesome, dude. Keep doing what you're doing, dude. It's just I love it, man. I just keep making cool shit.
Thank you.
Because we need a world full of people just doing cool shit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, you keep inspiring people too, because you inspired me to do the photo story. So
Action Figure Jesus. No.
Yep.
All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it, Edmond.
Thanks for the invite. Yeah.
You got it, bro. Guys, what an awesome show. This is one of the bangers. This is an absolute banger. I kind of figured it would be. Edmond's a cool dude. He came as the Sea Adventurer. He left as an absolute legend. And I couldn't ask for a better dude to come to the shop. Like I said, stay tuned. I got a really good, photo story coming next week in the G.I. Joe Crosshairs. And then, early December, we're going to go ahead and do an Axis of Awesome OG live stream, which should be fun. And I hope all you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And we're going to get to December here real soon. So I hope you guys are doing great out there. I hope you're all kicking ass and doing all the other cool shit you're going to do. Stay off the news. There's nothing good on there. And in the meantime, guys, keep living the adventure and cheers.